All right, welcome to Notes 0.10, Solving Inequalities. So solving inequalities is almost the exact same as solving equations, but you flip the inequality if you divide or multiply with a negative. And then what you also want to do is when you check with the number, you want to check your work with the number shaded next to your open or closed dot. Okay, so let's go through an example. So here we have -7 minus 8r is greater than 97. So this -7 is my constant. This -8 is my coefficient. So we want to get rid of our constant first. And you still want to draw your balance bar even though we're using inequalities, okay? So first we add that 7 on both sides. The -7 and 7 cancel. We're left with -8r, which gets brought down. 97 plus 7 is 104. Then I want to divide this -8 from the r, because remember we have secret multiplication here, and you show your division with the fraction bar, okay? So I divide that -8 on both sides. This is where this little specialty part comes in. So because we divided with a negative, we flip our symbol. So I flipped my symbol, okay? See that? Then I do 104 divided by -8 and I get -13. So I have r is less than -13. So I'm gonna graph this out on my number line here. I have an open dot because it's a less than symbol and it's pointing to the left, so I go to the left. When I check my work, this is where that red stuff is, you want to use the number that's shaded next to. So the number shaded next to is this -14. That's what I'll use to replace my r. So I have -7 minus 8 times -14. And you can just plug this straight into your calculator. You don't have to show all of your work like how I did. Just make sure you type it into your calculator exactly. So I have -7 minus 8 times -14. That gives me 105. So Miss Rawolf didn't do her math right. But that's still a good answer, right? 105 is greater than 97, okay? Miss Rawolf always makes boo-boos. Here we go. Number 2. So let's look at number 2 together. I'm gonna draw my balance bar. I know 8 is my coefficient. I know 9 is my constant. So I'm gonna solve like how I normally do. I'm gonna add that 9 on both sides because I get rid of my constants first. These 9s cancel out. I'm left with 8n is less, or I'm sorry, and then my inequality symbol. 63 plus 9 is 72. Then I wanna divide that 8 because it's being multiplied to the 9. Because again, our goal is to get the variable by itself. These 8s cancel. We are left with n. Our inequality does not flip because we did not divide or multiply with a negative. And this gives me a 9. So there we go. We have 9 is less than or equal to n. So let's graph this out on our number line here. So I'm gonna have a closed dot at the 9, and I need to flip this around because I want my variable on the left. So I have n and my 9. My inequality opens to my n. So this is telling me, my arrow is telling me to go to the right. So I'm gonna use the number next to my 9. So this is what I'm gonna use. Okay, check with the shaded number next to your open or closed dot. So 10 is the one that's next to it. This is gonna give me 63 is less than or equal to. I'm gonna type this into my calculator exactly. So I get 8 times 10 minus 9. That's 71. So check. Yes. So that is a good answer. We did well. Let's look at number 3 here. So number 3, balance bar. 10 is my constant. 4 is my coefficient. So the first thing we're gonna do is we are going to subtract our 10, because you want to do the opposite, remember, that's still a thing. These 10s cancel. we are left with x over 4 on the right side, 5 minus 10, and my calculator is -5, and I bring down my symbol. Then I have x over 4, so this fraction bar represents division. I do the opposite, multiply by 4, and what I do on one side, I must do on the other. The 4's here cancel out, and I'm left with x, my inequality. It doesn't flip because we use a positive number. We only flip if we divide or multiply with a negative, and we have -20. So on my number line here, I know I'm going to have a closed dot, and this is my final answer, but my variable's on the wrong side. I want it on the left. So I have my x, I have my -20. My mouth opens to the -20, so it should still open to the -20 when I make my adjustment here. My arrow's pointing to the left, so I go to the left. I'm going to use the number shaded next to my open or closed dot, so I'm going to use my -21 when I check my work. I'm going to plug that into my equation for replacing the x, type this into my calculator exactly, so I get 5 is greater than or equal to, and let's check. So alpha y equals, to get your fraction, -21 over 4 plus 10, and I want to change that to a decimal. So I get 4.75. So is my mouth opening to the bigger number? Yes, it's opening to the 5. The 5 is bigger than 4.75, so this is a good answer. All right, let's look at the next one here. I'm going to go fast. All right, so I'm not going to label my constant and coefficient. So my constant is this -6. I'm going to add that 6 on both sides. These cancel. I'm left with b over -7. Inequality symbol stays the same. -6 plus 6 is not 12. -6 plus 6 is 0. I get rid of my -7 that's being divided. So I multiply by -7, multiply by -7. I'm left with my b. 0 times -7 is 0. But what happens to my inequality? Is it the same or does it flip? It flips because we used multiplying with a negative. So you flip if you divide or multiply with a negative. Here we multiplied. So I have 0, and then my variable's already on this side, so that's nice. -1 should be on the left, 1 should be on the right. I'm gonna have a closed dot at 0, and my variable's already on the left, so I'm gonna go to the right side because that's where it's pointing me to. So I'm gonna use the 1 that's shaded next to it. So I'm gonna have 1 over -7 minus 6 less than or equal to -6. So I'm gonna type that into my calculator. So to get a fraction, alpha y equals, enter. I got 1 over -7 minus 6. I'm gonna hit math and go to decimal to change it to a decimal. So I have -6.14 blah 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 is less than or equal to -6, and that is a good answer. If you're more negative, that means you're less. So this is true. -6.14 is less than -6. All right, that's the end of this video. If you need more, we'll do some afterwards. Sorry it was a little longer. But if you got it, go do your exit ticket and do your homework.